This section is essential because almost everything else in this chapter depends on understanding what the liberal international order is and why it's under stress. The foreign policy architecture that governed American engagement with the world from 1945 through the early 21st century was built on a set of interlocking institutions, alliances, and norms that political scientists call the liberal international order. It was designed by American and Allied statesmen in the aftermath of World War II to prevent the conditions, unstable currency markets, protectionist trade barriers, aggressive nationalism, ungoverned power vacuums that had contributed to the catastrophe of the interwar period. Its institutional pillars are worth naming. The United Nations provided collective security. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund provided economic stability and development. The General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, and later the World Trade Organization, provided free trade. NATO provided collective defense against Soviet expansion in Europe, and a network of bilateral alliances in Asia and the Pacific with Japan, South Korea, Australia, and others extended the system globally. Now, let me be honest about this order because it was not without contradictions and failures. The United States supported authoritarian governments when Cold War calculations recommended it. It intervened militarily in ways that violated the UN Charter. Iraq in 2003 being the most obvious example. It used its dominant position to advance American economic interests as well as universal ones. The order had its hypocrisies. But, and this is the honest assessment, the order also produced an unprecedented period of great power peace among the major developed democracies. It produced massive expansion of global trade and prosperity, and it produced the eventual peaceful end of the Cold War. On balance, it was one of the great institutional achievements in the history of international politics. The liberal international order is now under severe stress from multiple directions. Let me catalog them. First, the rise of China as a peer competitor that is simultaneously embedded in the liberal economic order and challenging its political and security dimensions. We'll come back to this. Second, Russia's aggressive revisionism, culminating in the 2022 invasion of Ukraine, which we'll also examine in detail. Third, the internal dysfunction of Western democracies, which has reduced their capacity for collective action. The European Union has its own crises. The United Kingdom voted to leave it. Hungary has slid toward authoritarianism. Each of these reduces the cohesion of the democratic coalition that has long anchored the order. And fourth, the election in 2016 and 2024 of an American president who is openly skeptical of the multilateral institutions and alliances the order is built around, a development unprecedented in the post-war era and one whose long-term implications we don't yet know. The order built by American leadership now faces, in part, an American challenge.